All right, we are back with another pick'em video. It is Monday, October 27th in the NBA. We have a whole bunch of games to talk about, so definitely some plays that I'm really liking already. And probably going to give you guys 3, 4, maybe even 5 free picks in this one. And if you get this video to 150 likes, I'll go ahead and add another pinned comment play like we've been doing. We're 2 for 2 in our pinned comment plays so far, so we've been doing really well over there. Like always, we're going to start the video off with a recap of yesterday's video picks, and then we'll get into the plays for today. So if that sounds cool, go ahead and, of course, like the video. Try to hit that 150 like limit. If we get to 300 likes, we'll go ahead and add a second pinned comment play. Comment something down below. It does tell YouTube to push this video out a little bit more. And, of course, subscribe if you are new. We're already off to a pretty solid start for the NBA season, and we're not even a week in, so we've been doing really well over here. So let's get into the recap, and then we can hop into the plays for today. So hopping over to the spreadsheet that I'm keeping track of every play I give out this year. I'll give you guys the master sheet in a second, but we are up on the season, which is pretty solid through 6 days. But we do lose a little bit of juice yesterday, going 2-2. And I'm going to start with Shaden Sharp because I think he's the first villain on the channel this year. Over 19.5 points. He ends with 19, and he shot 24 times. This guy just cannot get his shooting percentage up. He shot 25% the last time we went to him. I don't know the percentage there, but 7-24. Not very good. So Shaden Sharp, probably the first villain on the channel this year. I will go back to him because he shoots so many times. He just needs to start getting good percentage, and he'll cruise over this line. Maybe I'll tackle him in the next matchup. He has a good one. But yeah, not liking Shaden Sharp this year. Miles Turner, though, comes through threat for us. He had 2 threes in that one. Cade Cunningham, everyone else on the team got rebounds. I think they had like 58 team rebounds. Duran had 17 of them. Oster Thompson had like 12 of them. Everyone was rebounding. Tobias Harris chipped in with like 6 or 8 or something, but Cade Cunningham did not rebound the ball. A lot of rebounds to go around. He just wasn't the guy getting them. It looked like he went out last night. He scored the ball pretty well, just wasn't hustling for some boards. But Anthony Davis with the blocks did go over that 1.5 blocks line. And I talked about 2 other plays. They were leans, so they're not counted here for the official plays, but they did hit. That was the CJ McCollum, or no, it was the Norman Powell assist line, 1.5. He had 5 assists, I believe. He cruised over that line. And then we also talked about Keyshawn George, and he had 5 assists over his 4.5 plus money line. So the leans did pretty well yesterday. But 2-2, that's not the end of the world. So far this season, again, I've tracked everything we've gone to this season. We're already up plus 4.42 units. I don't mind that at all. And our winning percentage, I should probably have that, but we're definitely over, maybe 5 over 500, which is pretty sweet. So early on in the season, we're doing pretty good. Let's hop into the plays for the day. I just actually tallied up. We're 16-10 on the season, so the plus 4.42 units. Love to see that. And we haven't gone to a play that's worse than minus 130. This is the juiciest play we went to. Most of the plays are around minus 120 or less, and we've gone to a bunch of plus money plays as well this season too. So we're doing pretty good, and I don't think we're going to slow down as we get more and more data on our Props Madness tool, which we're going to check out right now for the plays today. So hopping into Props Madness here, this is the tool I use to research a lot of my different plays, and it's an awesome tool. You can check it out for 25% off your first month, but they have a ton of different filters, and as we get farther and farther into the season, we're going to get a ton of different data points, how players have scored the points this year, how have teams gone up against that defensively, and it's a really fun tool to use and one of the cheapest in the industry. Definitely check out Props Madness using my link in the description down below for 25% off. But let's look at Cam Johnson. He's gonna be the first guy I go to today, and I love seeing these guys that I know can perform better, given the opportunity, which I think Cam Johnson is gonna get more and more acclimated to playing with a guy like Jokic, playing with the Nuggets, and 11.5 seems very low, especially considering we're only doing this for minus 115. This isn't juiced, and I love this spot for him, 11.5. If you wanted to attack a 15 plus line for some plus money, I wouldn't mind that either, to be totally honest. But for official video pick style, we're going to go 11.5 over here, going up against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, the first game of the season, he shot 2 of 8, pretty horrible shooting percentage, and only had 5 points. Obviously, first game in his new team, and he's got to get acclimated a little bit. Does get more acclimated. They score, a bunch of points against the Suns, and they win by 22. He only plays 25 minutes. Much better shooting percentage. Honestly, not even amazing. Shoots 44%, gets to the free throw line. Much more accustomed to what I've seen from him last year, and he cruised over this line, got 15 points. Now, again, more difficult matchup, but the defensive rating for the Minnesota Timberwolves, as their guys in the front court get a little bit older, and we see defensive rating of 28th right now. That's 2 games. You got to take that with a grain of salt, but maybe their defense isn't as good as it was last year. And talking about last year, we can see how good this guy was. Obviously, totally different situation on the Brooklyn Nets. He had the ball in his hands a whole lot, and he could shoot pretty much at any time. But 90% is a really good hit rate, and he's projected right now, going over to RotoWire to check the projections. This game's nice and late, too, so plenty of time to get this one in. We can see the projections here. It's projected to start like he has been. 31 projected minutes here, so I love to see that. If he's going to see, 25 plus, which we've seen in 2 games so far this season, 25 to, let's say, 35 minutes, He's over this in 93% of games. If we go the entire season, he's over this in 90% of games. So we know this guy can put the ball in the basket. Now he gets to play with a guy like Jokic, maybe even be a little bit more of a spot-up guy. And the last thing I'll point out is the fact that he's played, the Timberwolves have played two guys that I would say are the most like him. We can talk about these Indiana Pacers. They're jumping into new roles. We can talk about Toumani Camara. Sure, he's a very similar guy. He had a 10.5 line. He hooks with 10, but Rui Hachimura, I think, is the best equivalent to a Cam Johnson right now in his new role on the Nuggets, and he had 23 points there. Jeremy Grant, another guy in the Blazers, he's coming off the bench now. He scored 29 against this team. So I think Jeremy Grant and especially Rui Hachimura are pretty comparable to a guy like Cam Johnson in his new role, and I could see him soaring over this line. 11.5 for a guy like Cam Johnson with a lot of talent to score the ball. This seems really, really low, almost like suspectively low, but 11.5, I'm attacking this at minus 115 for the first play of the video. And then real quick, the last thing I'll point out here is the fact that the Minnesota Timberwolves, they are on a back-to-back. Nuggets, well rested, haven't played since the 25th, so they are not on a back-to-back. So just another added bonus here for a guy like Cam Johnson. Maybe he's got some better legs than some of the defenders he's going to see today. Moving to the next play, we're going to go to a guy that everyone likes to bet on, and it's going to be Victor Wembanyama, and I'm actually looking at his three-pointers line, minus 125 right now on BetMGM. Now, so far this season, his three-point attempts have been low, and he's been scoring a lot of points, which might be a negative here, but I do like his opportunity, especially considering he's on the back-to-back to score some buckets from beyond the three-point line, maybe not bang down low like he has been, and extend the range because we know he can pull up from anywhere. He's hit some crazy threes, especially in this Brooklyn Nets game. Just a wild sequence. I think he had like 2 blocks and then pulled up from like 40 feet like Steph Curry. So I like what he's capable of doing. We're going to look at the stats from last year. He went 3 of 6 against the Brooklyn Nets, again, now on a back-to-back. But he only shot 3 in this game. He only shot 2 in this game. So they're definitely low. Doesn't have a true point guard right now to distribute the ball. De'Aaron Fox out, Chris Paul not in town anymore. But I do like his opportunity to be able to create his own shots, and he can shoot a pretty good percentage from three-point when he needs to. So going up against the Toronto Raptors, we've seen Porzingis have 3. That's the main guy I'm looking at. Miles Turner was a guy I looked at against this same team, and he ended up not being able to shoot very well. He shot only 0 of 3. So that's definitely a negative data point, but I like to see, Wemby has a good opportunity to score the points, even in the paint. I think his points line's up at like 28.5 right now. So I'm just going to go to the three-pointers. I think he's going to, rely on that a little bit more, especially on the back-to-back here. So going back to last year, obviously hit this line a whole bunch, 79% of the last few games of the season, last 29 games of the season. But I want to look at back-to-backs last year, and we can see that he shot and made a lot of back-to-back threes, or I guess threes in back-to-back games. He shot, made 4 here, but he shot 13, made 2 here, 2 for 6. We'll take that percentage. 2 for 9 here, 2 for 12 here. So you can see the three-point attempts are very, very high, and then 1 for 6 right here. So all we need is like a 2 for 6 night, and we're going to get over this line. But if he decides to, jack up a whole bunch of threes, considering the fact that he, again, I'm going to say this a million times, is on a back-to-back, maybe a little bit of fatigue here, I like our chances here for Victor Wembanyama at a minus 125 line. So going up against the Raptors, I like this spot for him. He didn't play them last year, so we don't have that data point to look at. But again, through 3 games, Wemby's been looking amazing so far this season, and maybe steps behind the three-point line because he's got a good percentage, and I know he likes to make them. So he makes some highlights on his threes. He doesn't need to do any highlights for us. Just knock down some open ones or do some crazy between the legs, fall away, and 1-3s like we've seen already this season. Victor Wembanyama over 1.5. 3-pointers made. Fun one to root for. Fun guy to root for. And hopefully he can get it done for us. Next play I'm liking here is something I don't typically go to. I usually just do player props, but I do like an alternate spread for the Orlando Magic going up against the 76ers. No Joel Embiid for the 76ers today. Is that a good thing or a bad thing at this point? I don't know. I don't totally know. But I am looking at a minus 4.5. The normal spread is minus 5.5. I just think if this does come down to free throws, it's easier to win by 5 than it is to 6. And the Orlando Magic are on the road, but I do like their spot here. I really like the opportunity for Paolo to actually explode for one of these, big scoring nights. I think Franz has a very good opportunity to score some points today. Even a guy like Desmond Bane, not too shabby of a shot chart here. So I like their opportunity to score the buckets in the paint as well. So you can see right here, they've been pretty solid down low, but Joel Embiid's been playing 20 minutes. The 76ers definitely play a little bit faster, but I think the Orlando Magic can slow the game down a little bit more and kind of play their own brand of basketball VJ Edgecombe's been amazing, but again, he is a rookie. Quentin Grimes looked really good last game. I think this team is not a 50-win team, the 76ers team. I think they're going to get smacked around some games and surprise a lot of people other games. They're already 2-0. The Magic right now are 1-2. I could definitely see this as a win spot for the Orlando Magic. And again, I'm taking the alternate spread here. -124 over on FanDuel right now. Again, alternate spread. So the normal spread's 5.5. I bumped this down to 4.5. If the 76ers continue to press and stay in games and this comes down to free throws, I like the Magic winning by 5 a little bit more than I like them winning by 6. So I'm paying a little bit more juice here. But yeah, I like the spot for the Orlando Magic. Again, they're 1-2. 76ers right now 2-0. But again, those wins are against the Boston Celtics, who are an 0-3 team right now. Very much different team than last year, and against the Charlotte Hornets, who currently are 2-1, but their wins right now for the Hornets are against the Nets and against the Wizards, so that's not too impressive to me. So yeah, I think the Magic biggest test right now for the 76ers so far. No Joel Embiid. Again, is that a good thing or a bad thing in this matchup? But we got some young guys with some talent. I don't think they're going to be able to bring it every single night, and I think the Magic are going to be in a good spot here. You can even see the matchup for these guys. Tyrese Maxey, a guy that likes to shoot above the break a lot. The Magic, even so far in this young season, have been very good at defending like that, like they were last year. So I like the Magic here to win by some points. I wouldn't mind them, blowing these guys out at all, and I think we could see something like that. So not something I go to typically, but when I see the value on it, I will attack it. So -4.5 for the Orlando Magic, going to be the third pick of the video. Next pick, I like Payton Pritchard over his points, rebounds, and assist line, currently sitting at 25.5, -105 on the over here on ESPN Bet. And he just had a really good game against the Detroit Pistons. I like this for two reasons. Obviously, he was finally able to get some assists, 10 potential, did chip him before. He was a really good rebounder in that game. When he gets a lot of time on the floor, he's a really good rebounder, and he gets a lot of offensive rebounds just by, air balls falling right into his hands. He's really, really good at that. But he can get some defensive rebounds too. He's got a high motor. And also, Jaylen Brown scored 40 points in this game, and he's still went over this line by a whole lot. You look at this game, very solid defense against the Pistons, very solid defense against this New York Knicks team. And then the first game of the season, he only had 2 assists in that game on 9 potentials. Didn't shoot very well, even though it's showing 43%. I don't think he shot particularly well, was missing a lot of open shots, and rebounding, getting 5 rebounds. So he's been a really good rebounder so far this year. 5 rebounds, and 10 rebounds. I know he can distribute the ball because Jaylen Brown cannot. He should be the main facilitator on this team. And I know he can score some buckets, again, especially against a weak defensive team, as the Pelicans have been the past few seasons. We can see similar types of players to a guy like Payton Pritchard, even KCP, but Ja Morant over his line, Dylan Harper, a rookie, over his line, Stephon Castle over his line. So every single pretty much guard that has gone up against this team has gone over their line. Defensively, maybe they're a little bit better this year, but they've been weak defensively to most players, especially point guards, over the past few years, and we haven't seen much different between the point guards going up against them so far this season. So I do like to see that. And then the last data point I'll point to is the fact that they are at a back-to-back. Pritchard in a totally different situation this season, coming in and playing a whole bunch of minutes. He's projected for 35 minutes in this game. But if someone gets yanked off, if a Jaylen Brown or something, a Derek White gets yanked off because of the back-to-back in a down year for the Celtics, we're going to see more opportunities for a guy like Payton Pritchard. Last year, we see games they played back-to-backs. He was over this line a whole bunch, probably because he was getting a whole bunch of time in the court. But we're going to see that every single game from a guy like Payton Pritchard. I don't think the back-to-back's going to minimize his game because he's a younger dude. I guess at this point he's probably more like a veteran guy. But at the same time, he's got a high motor. He's a smaller guard. He plays with a lot of energy. And I don't think the back-to-back's going to hurt a guy like him. I think the Celtics would definitely like to get a win under their belt this season. I think guys like Derek White, Payton Pritchard need to play more consistently. And again, if anyone gets ruled out, I think that's just going to be a boost for a guy like Payton Pritchard. So this 25.5 line in a good matchup looks a little bit too low for me, and I'm liking my guy for at least 26 PRA. And then moving into the final official video pick, I do have a lean as well that I'm going to not count towards the record, but going to show you guys. But Grayson Allen, this is an official video pick, under 4.5 assists going up against the Utah Jazz. -117 right now on DraftKings. And I'm liking this spot a whole lot. Now, I'm just going to look at this year, to be totally honest. I think Grayson Allen definitely moving into a bigger role with a whole bunch of guys gone from the Phoenix Suns. And he's had 7 assists, 5 assists, and 5 assists. But you can see the potential assists here, 6 potential assists, 9 potential assists, and 7 potential assists. In my mind, that's not enough potential assists to consistently get 5 assists, especially considering a lot of his assists so far this season have come right at the rim, and they're going up against a Jazz team that run a whole bunch of 7-footers, a whole bunch of big dudes down low, and it's harder to get assists. Even in the 3 games we have as a sample size this season against the Jazz, it's tough to get assists down there. So I don't love the potential assists for him. They've been very low for a guy that has a 4.5 line. So I'm liking this under a whole lot. Now, again, you could look at last year if you wanted to for a guy like Grayson Allen. He didn't hit this very often. He's not a huge facilitator. Now into a bigger role, probably more of a facilitator, but I don't think he's a guy that's going to average 5 assists a game, especially considering this is a pretty tough matchup for a guy that likes to get assists down low. We can see Zach LaVine. He's pretty much just scored this season, but he had a 3.5 assist line. He had 1. Bradley Beal also didn't get his assist. DeRozan did chip in with some dimes, but he is definitely more of a facilitator than a guy like Grayson Allen, and I think this is just too high for his line. Again, bigger role this season for the Suns, but the potential assists just have not been there. Very tough matchup for him. So I really like Grayson Allen under 4.5 assists, minus 117 on DraftKings. That's where I locked it in. And that's going to do it for the official video picks, but stay tuned for a couple leans here. So I was going to talk about 2 leans. This Marcus Smart play actually literally just got bumped as I was about to start talking about it. It was minus 109 on DraftKings. Now it's sitting around minus 122, best price on FanDuel. Under 10.5 just seems like a pretty good spot for him. He's on a back-to-back. He's already pretty much banged up this season, but there's no Luka. He's going to get probably 30 minutes tonight. Again, maybe back-to-back, chips him down a little bit, but I hate this matchup for him going up against the Trailblazers, who play pretty fast. And Marcus Smart, not a very efficient scorer, so even if he gets a lot of shots up, he's not a guy that's going to put the ball in the basket at a consistent rate. Typically, very, very difficult matchup for him and how he scores the ball this season. Defensive rating for the Trailblazers, this is just like a pretty good spot for him. So if you want to pay the juice, you could definitely look at it, but definitely going to be more like a lean because of the price change here. But let's go to a guy like Jamal Murray, who's going to be the next lean here. Again, leans do not count towards official video picks, but I'm looking at his over 5.5. I'm looking at DraftKings. You can get this at plus, what is the price? Plus 132 right now on DraftKings. Right now, his line is normally at 4.5 over on DraftKings. If you bump it up to 5.5, you're going to get nice plus money. And I like this spot for him. We're going to look at plus or over 5.5 again assists. And he's had 10 assists so far on 17 potentials. He's had 5 assists on 9 potentials. I like this play, first of all, because we have Cam Johnson over his points. Maybe Jamal Murray can set him up a few times going up against the Timberwolves here. But we've also seen Austin Reeves go for 11 assists. That was in a situation that he absolutely balled out and dimed up. And then we saw Drew Holiday go for 7 assists on a 4.5 line. So both these guys, very similar types of lines. Jamal Murray, a guy that can definitely get some dimes when he needs to. And Jokic's been a dime machine so far, and he's already had 15 assists through 2 games. I like the spot with plus 132 to get 6 assists. I definitely wouldn't mind that. So again, that's a lean. The Marcus Smart play is a lean, not going to go towards the official record. But we talked about 2 leans in yesterday's video, and they both smacked. So wanted to point these one out for you guys, even if you don't take them. Just want to point them out. I think they're pretty solid plays. So we're going to jump into the recap of what we talked about in this video. But first, if you're not on Underdog, it's one of my favorite platforms to bet on. It's one of the most useful ones in the Discord community that we use because they have boosts all the time. And right now they're doing play 5, get $100 in fantasy bonus funds. So essentially, if you play $5, you're going to get $95 loaded in your account. That's free money to play with. You want to be on as many books as possible. You can get the best price possible because you can line shop a little bit, but also you get access to all the discounts and things that they give out throughout the week on all different platforms. If there's a discount on PrizePicks, we're going to attack that. If there's a boost on Underdog, we're going to go ahead and attack that. We attack those every single day in the Discord community. So definitely check out Underdog. Use code RichPicks when signing up. There's a link in the description down below. And yeah, it's literally free, $95. Might as well go ahead and check out Underdog Fantasy. Again, one of my favorite platforms out there. They've been giving us boosts all throughout October, and they do that very, very often. So definitely check out Underdog. It's one of my favorites. So quick recap of what we talked about in this one. 5 official video picks, starting with Cam Johnson over his 11.5 points line at minus 115 on DraftKings. I think this is a good spot for him. And as he gets more acclimated to playing with the Nuggets, I think this line's going to go up and up and up. Just seems very, very low for a guy with his talent offensively. Then we got Victor Wembanyama coming on a back-to-back here, over 1.5 3-pointers made, minus 125 on BetMGM. Maybe he settles for 3-pointers a little bit more on a back-to-back set like he did last year. If he can shoot 6, 7, 8, 9 threes, I think he'll absolutely cruise over this line. We just need 2 for the win. Orlando Magic, my first spread pick of the year, taking them minus 4.5. I think this is a great opportunity against the 76ers, a young team, a quick team, but the Magic very good defensively, especially above the break threes. They are on the road, but I like the spot for them. Again, this was an alternate spread. Normal spread's at minus 5.5, so if you want to go ahead and take that, you can. But if this does come down to free throws, I like the 5-point potential win other than the 6-point potential win. So I like the Magic tonight against the Sixers. Then we have Payton Pritchard over his 25.5 PRA, minus 105. I think he's in a really good spot here. He's on a back-to-back. He played really well in back-to-backs last year, probably because he was playing less minutes on that first game of the back-to-back, but he's playing 35 plus minutes in each and every game so far this season. The Celtics want to get a win, and against the Pelicans could definitely be a spot for him. He's just coming off a really good game yesterday against a really tough defensive team in the Detroit Pistons. He's got a much easier matchup today, over 25.5 PRA. He can do a little bit of everything. And then finally, Grayson Allen, the only under on the day, 4.5 assists. I don't think he's a 5-assist guy. The potential assists have been really low, -117 on DraftKings. To close out the video, we did talk about some leans as well, so go check out if you missed that. It was 2 leans, but not going to go over them real quick because the video is already over 20 minutes. So thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the content like always. If you did, go ahead and leave the video a like, and we get to 150 likes, I'm going to add a pinned comment play. We're 2 for 2 in our pinned comment plays so far this year, so definitely go ahead and like the video. If you get to 300 likes, which I don't know, we haven't done that, so we got close, but we didn't get there yet. If you get to 300 likes, I'll go ahead and add a second pinned comment play. Whole bunch of games today. I was seeing value all over the board. Wanted to keep giving you guys picks, but I'll stop at 5 so we're not spreading too thin on one night. And yeah, that's going to do it. Definitely go and check out Underdog. Use code RichPicks when signing up to get the $5, play $5, $100 bonus. It's a no-brainer, literally $95 free dollars to mess around with. Then you got Props Madness. That was a tool that I was using all throughout the video. And this is the second to last day. You can go ahead and get a free month in my Discord. No strings attached. Just go into the description down below. Click the link. Just sign up through DubClub. Link your Discord account. Free month on me early on the season. So you guys can jump on board and check us out. We're all about. So that's going to do it for me. Thanks for watching. Good luck with all your bets tonight. Like the video. Comment something down below. I'm like out of breath. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Subscribe if you're new as well, of course.